Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a huge challenge, one that trips up pretty much everyone at some point. How do you structure your data projects so they don't just, fall apart the second you try to automate anything?
Oh man, this question. We have all been there, right? You feel like you're so close to that glorious automation dream, but your projects are just fragile. It's a total mess. The good news is the fix is actually way simpler than you think. It's not about some fancy new tool or writing a more complicated script. The problem boils down to this: you're trying to build the roof before you've even laid the foundation. Seriously, real, robust, scalable automation isn't about that final clever script you write. It's about creating an organized, predictable, and solid environment for that script to live and run in. All right, so let's get practical. We need a blueprint for our projects. I want you to think of your project folder on your computer like it's a real physical laboratory. You wouldn't just throw all your beakers, samples, and notebooks onto one big table, would you? Of course not. You'd have shelves, labeled drawers, designated areas for everything. It makes your work efficient and keeps you from making mistakes. The exact same logic applies to our digital work. And this quote it nails it, doesn't it? A clean project isn't just about appearances. It's not about being neat for the sake of being neat. It fundamentally makes your life easier. It cuts down on the mental clutter, makes it a breeze to find what you need, and most importantly, it paves the way for your computer to do all that boring, heavy lifting for you. So, what does this actually look like? Well, here is a super simple but incredibly powerful structure. First, a data directory. This is for all your raw inputs and any intermediate files you generate. Then, a scripts folder. Every single piece of code you write for this project lives here, no exceptions. Next, analysis. This is for your final outputs, the beautiful charts, the summary tables, the reports, the stuff you actually show people. And finally, a docs folder for all your notes and documentation. Just this simple separation of concerns is your first giant leap towards project sanity and true automation. Let's keep building on this. Now that our folders are organized, we need to talk about what's inside them, specifically how we name our files. Now, I know this sounds trivial, maybe even a little boring, but I promise you, this is the absolute linchpin of automation. It's everything. Just take a look at the before column on this slide. See the spaces, the random capital letters, the different separators like dashes and nothing? A human can eventually figure this out, but a script, it's going to choke on this mess. Now look at the after column. It's a machine's dream. It's consistent, it's predictable, it's easy to parse. We're using underscores instead of spaces, and there's a clear, repeatable pattern. This is what lets a computer understand your files as a single, coherent group. And believe me, this isn't just some abstract, nice-to-have idea. This quote really captures the massive, real-world cost of getting this wrong. Bad naming creates bugs, it adds friction, and it wastes an unbelievable amount of time and energy that we could all be spending on the actual interesting analysis. And here is the magic moment. This is where that little bit of discipline pays off big time. When you have a clean naming scheme, you can use these simple patterns, often called wildcards, to grab hundreds or thousands of files with one single elegant command. Look at this example. zmaze sample a to c r1.fastq. That one little line can instantly grab all the read1 files for samples A, B, and C. Now imagine trying to write a rule for the messy names we saw before. You can't. It's impossible. So if you remember one thing from this section, make it this: consistency is the key that unlocks automation. It is the fundamental language your scripts need to be able to speak to your data. Okay, so we've organized our folders, we've disciplined our file names. There's just one more piece to this foundational puzzle: documentation. And I know, it sounds like a chore, but this isn't about writing a novel. This is about creating a memory for your project so that your future self or a collaborator can actually understand what you did 6 months from now. The key concept here is something called metadata. Don't let the word scare you. It's super simple. It's just data about your data. Where did it come from? When did you download it? What version of that software tool did you use on it? Without this context, your data is just a pile of numbers. With it, your project has a clear, verifiable history. And this doesn't have to be complicated. You just need to be a little bit diligent. Always record where your data came from. Was it a URL? Did a colleague email it to you? Write it down. Note how you got it. And this one is critical. Record the exact versions of the software you used. A tiny update to a tool can sometimes give you completely different results, and you absolutely need to be able to trace that. And the best place for all this crucial information? It's not some fancy, expensive software. It's the humble readme.md file. It's just a plain text file. It's your project's central nervous system. It should live right in the main folder of your project and hold all that essential metadata. So why plain text? Why not a Word doc or something else? Well, one simple, powerful reason. It's future-proof. This quote says it all. Proprietary file formats from 5 or 10 years ago can be a nightmare to open today. But plain text? It's timeless. You can open it on any computer, anywhere, now and 50 years from now. It ensures your documentation lasts as long as your data does. So, we've done the work, we've laid the foundation. We've got a logical folder structure, consistent file names, and crystal clear documentation. Now, let's talk about the payoff, because this is where all that upfront effort becomes so incredibly worth it. The impact of working this way isn't just a little bit better. It's exponential. Look at this chart. The effort to set up one single, well-organized project, that's your manual task. But that one blueprint you created, it lets you automate that same analysis for 100 or even 1,000 new data sets. You're no longer working one-to-one. You're working one-to-many. Your impact just scales like crazy. So let's just recap the huge wins you get from this. First, reproducibility. Your future self is going to thank you when you can perfectly recreate an analysis you did a year ago. Second, collaboration becomes a breeze. New teammates can get up and running on your project in hours, not weeks. And finally, efficiency. You stop being a human button pusher, and you get to free up your brain to focus on what actually matters, asking the next big, interesting question. You know, at the end of the day, every data project tells a story. An organized, automated project tells a story of clarity, of reliability, of insight. A chaotic one? Well, it tells a story of confusion and frustration. So I'll just leave you with this question. What story will your next project tell? And that's a wrap for this explainer. If this blueprint helps you build stronger, more robust data projects, do us a favor and hit that like button, share it with a colleague, and subscribe for more deep dives into the skills that really matter. Thanks for watching.